So he is astrologer Spencer Grendahl, and he is the author of Romance in Your Hands, as well as Astrology and the Games People Play, these two books right here. Thanks for joining us, Spencer. First of all, let's just delve right into the case because there's so much happening. Our own Luke McKissick even sat around to see what you have to say about this. We have a chart, OJ's chart.
Uh-huh.
Can you just tell us, what
is it up yet?
No, we'll see it when it comes up. What does it mean?
Well, OJ's chart basically tells us where the planetary positions were at the time of his birth. Now, as those planets continue to move after the time of his birth, this becomes a point that we refer back to as the planets keep moving. And we determine cycles and events from the interaction of that fixed natal chart, as we call it, and transits. There are other things that we go into, but that is basically a fixed natal chart, time of your birth, and then we have transits to that chart. And
very confusing looking. I mean, someone such as yourself knows how to read, but we could never.
Well, you could do it. It takes work. I mean, people think they're going to learn astrology, and they're basically all going to get into sun-sign astrology, which is, I'm a Libra, and that is
I am a Libra, actually.
So am I, is that right?
Yes, okay, the next chart is OJ and Nicole. Compare the two. This is a volatile relationship, obviously. Did you see this in the chart? When he's going over his stuff, you should see all of these. There it is up there. It's very.
All right, now look at this. When you see the yod there between, we call that a yod. See that looks like a wishbone. Okay, a wishbone there. We call that a yod, which means the finger of God. It's probably the most difficult situation in astrology to interpret, because it can cause so much grief in so many ways. It's a very difficult pattern, and it's made up of the two charts. Now, the inner chart on this one is OJ, and the outer chart is Nicole. What happens is, see that point is to OJ's Mars, which means OJ had two goals in mind with this woman. One, he wanted to control her because he was involved with her Saturn, and he liked her because she's feisty, but don't be too feisty. And the other was, she's a blonde, beautiful, Neptunian woman, ideal, comes up out of the sea, gorgeous, all this body stuff. So these are two sides. These are two sides that his Mars is trying to work.
Tell me this. Could another astrologer see the chart differently? Or is that the way it is and that's just... because people see things so differently. Somebody else see it and say, no, you're wrong, Spencer. They were totally destined to this and that. I mean,
let me ask you...
How much should we put into this is what I'm asking you.
Have you ever gone to the doctor and got two opinions?
No, I have never, but...
Did you ever know anyone that did?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it's the same thing as astrology.
Okay, but I'm asking
people can read these positions differently.
Yeah,
but in the astrological community right now about this particular case, we're all as agreed as a cardiac specialist, this is a sick heart.
Okay. The next one we have, the next chart, is the time frame. Very important. Very important. I mean, this is the whole basis of this case comes down to the time.
I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that.
What does this tell us? And why don't they just use this in court if there's so much, we can buy it?
Oh, please. If Nancy Reagan couldn't sell it, how could Ito buy it? I mean, let's talk about this for a minute.
Right. Let's talk about it.
All right. Okay. This country doesn't know anything about astrology. This country is lavishing away. We've got Newt Gingrich. We seem to have him around.
All right. Well,
we can't deal with... I'm going to finish the other thing, first of all.
Right.
The point of it is that astrology is not sellable to the American public because we still live in a Puritan world. All right, now, let's look at this. The point with this chart is there are three major problems with this. One is Pluto, the planet of death, is aligned with both of their charts in a singular, angular way. All right?
Yes, it is.
Okay? And the second one is that the Venuses in this chart are involved with Uranus. Sudden mistakes, but we could easily say they could have died in a car crash on this exact moment. But we're not going to say we definitely can know it was murder. And secondly, the Saturn is involved in a quincunx to these planets. So there's a lot of evidence that indicates this was a night of a big, deadly accident or a big, deadly event. And then when you put OJ's chart over it, you go, gee, OJ was very grumpy that day. And he had plans. So you see what I mean?
Compare OJ and Mark Furman.
Oh, that is... First of all, let's talk about Mark Furman just for a minute, because Mark Furman is a very complex guy. He's got a cardinal cross, he's got a trine, he's got an opposition to that trine.
What does this mean? Everyone's sitting at home going, he has a what? He has a what? Explain this to me. I don't understand this.
Well, you see, what I like to do is I like to establish that I'm not talking out of a hole. I'm talking from a concept. Now, what it means is he's a very nervous guy. He's a very bright guy. He has been a very abused guy when he was little. He has a lot of hatred inside of himself. He's frustrated, and he's angry. Now, if we compare with OJ, he is very upset with OJ. What is this N-word did his get his prestige. I'm out there every day busting my butt being a cop and taking risks every day. And look at him and his women and blah, blah. And so the point of it is there's a lot of hostility. And OJ's going to have the last laugh, I think, on this one because his testimony in his trial is going to get Mark Furman in deep trouble in February of next year. I guarantee it.
You guarantee you will come back on the show?
I will come
Give me a
back.
prediction that you can come back and I can say, you know what, Spencer, you convinced me because I was a skeptic and you convinced me. What do you predict for, because everyone wants to predict OJ's future right now. What do you predict as far as his...
OJ is going to at least have a hung jury, if not walk. I see no way for a conviction on this chart. He's got too many planetary positions that his years are favorable for him. He's moving along. He's gotten out. You know, he's like a... You ever see a fullback hit the line, a big bunch of guys jump on him, and he busts through, and there he is, OJ's in the clear? I'm afraid we're seeing OJ in the clear. But that's the way it looks to me.
Okay, can I have one quick question? Yes. Because the stars are aligned and the moon, I'm not...
That's
using Jerry,
right.
yeah. Do you think that things would be differently had OJ been born on a different day or Nicole born on a different day?
I think if Nicole had such a big mouth that day, it would have been a very good deal. I don't think you have to go back that far. If she hadn't, he is so activated by a Mercury-Mars anger between her chart and his chart. Why won't you let me be with my kids? Why can't I sit with you? That's my daughter up there. Why can you be... And that, if she had been different in that way, I don't think she got killed then.
All right, well, there you heard it. Tony, I'm going to throw it back to you. It all came down to the Mercury-Mars anger.